You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma Podcast. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today. But before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is the Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma. And it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. So a huge shout out to Governor Anatoby for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. And finally, our third sponsor is 988. The Oklahoma 988 Mental Health Lifeline. 988 is a direct 3-digit lifeline that connects you with trained behavioral health professionals that can get all Oklahomans the help that they need. Learn more by visiting 988oklahoma.com. That's 988oklahoma.com. And now, let's get into today's episode. It gives me great pleasure to welcome my guests, Brent and Leslie of Champion Plumbing. This is not going to be a boring podcast about plumbing, I can tell you that much. If you're looking at the title and you're thinking, plumbing, I don't want to listen to that, you should. You should click on, you should listen to this one. Because there's a lot of cool, I think you're going to learn a lot about business, a lot about family, life, Oklahoma culture, giving as a business. But thank you so much, you guys, for coming down. Excited to dive into it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess let's start with, how'd you guys meet?
Ooh. There was no prep for that question.
Well, it's,
So...
Ironically...
Okay, you tell the story.
Well, ironically, we're from little suburbs right next to each other.
Okay.
I knew all of her friends. She knew all of mine.
Growing up,
yeah.
our high schools were rivals.
I'll be honest, I partied with most of her friends, but I didn't know her. And we happened to have a mutual friend that had graduated college and was having a little get-together downtown, and we both showed up that night, and she's loved me every day since.
Best day of his life.
Best day of your life.
Best day of his life.
Yeah, what's your side of the story?
So that is true. We met at a party and dated for 4 months and got married.
Okay.
And that was 13 years ago, 14 years ago.
She liked it, and so she put a ring on it.
I really did. It was like... During that time, I think I was 27, and I was looking to buy a house on my own.
Yeah.
And I was looking at a house, and I was like, man, I don't think I can cut it. I wonder if Brent and I could do this together. And so I asked him, I said, hey, what do you think about this house? He's like, I like it. Not the rest was history. And I was like, well, we can't live together unless we're married.
I always joke. I'm like, after asking, I finally said yes.
Essentially. The rest is history.
Yeah. And at 27, you're kind of ready,
yeah,
right?
I was ready.
Yeah. It's funny. I have a friend of mine who lives here. He's also from Wales, but he's like 32, 33, and he's like, keeps dating all these 24, 25-year-olds. I'm like, no, dude, like, stop, please. Like, do yourself a favor.
We were ready, I think, to settle down, and we did.
It sucks getting old because, we're at that age now where if I meet somebody who's 23, 24, even if they're nice, no offense against you youngsters out there, but I don't have anything in common with them.
Nothing anymore, right? That I'm 32, and the 90s kind of, my brother's 5 years younger than me, and his generation grew up so different to me. They grew up playing Call of Duty and Xbox, and we grew up running around outside.
Yeah,
right. And it's only in a 5-year span, but you're right. You're meeting people who are graduating now, and they're like, I just spent my life on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Go outside, please. Get dirty, break your arm.
Right. Something.
Do something.
Bloody nose. Anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Please,
yeah. So that time then, I got married in 9 months, and I thought that was less. Slight green card, I will say. Most people who listen to this podcast will probably know the story. But she's awesome. We're still married. She's great. As much as she hates social engagements, I drag her to some social engagements every now and then, and she hates to show me that she's enjoying herself because she really doesn't want to go.
Yeah, I'm probably the social butterfly of our group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an introvert.
Okay.
So when we go to these conferences and we get to meet all of our friends that are social media friends that live in other states in the industry, I like to have him with me because he's an extrovert and I can kind of push that onto him.
Yeah. So when you guys meet then, are you in the business? Like how does this whole thing come together then? Do you have, an idea of what you're doing? Are you working a full-time job at the time?
I was working a full-time job.
Okay.
That kind of came to an end. And at this time we were married.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, her dad built houses.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually pulled all of those files and thought, we just basically asked her mom and dad, out of the trades, who makes the most money?
Yeah. When you were writing those checks for the trades, it was like electrical, HVAC, or plumbing. And the plumber did, and he had already been working for the gas company, so he had a lot of that knowledge, and he's just mechanically inclined like that. So literally, that's how we made that decision at that time.
Literally, that's how we made it. They were like, oh, easy, the plumber.
And
So I went and got a job plumbing and...
Well, I went to the VOTEC.
Yeah, I
then
did the
got a
VOTEC
job.
for a while.
Yeah,
Yep.
doing new construction plumbing.
Yeah. Just this is what we're going to do. I'm pretty hands-on. It's going to be a business that people coming out of college aren't going to go into, right?
Right.
Like with most of the trades.
Well, and I had plenty of college experience and all that, but the difference is when you go into the trades and you're going to make a career of it. From the very beginning, we said one day
we had the end in mind.
You had a plan.
Yeah, we were looking at the end from the very start.
Yeah,
and knew we're going to have a plumbing company.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny to think about that now.
Yeah.
Leslie,
we
what was
knew
your
nothing
idea
about anything. Like,
we still don't.
I had a degree.
That's why you hire great people.
That's right. I graduated. I had a degree. I was working in oil and gas. That was my, my work history was in oil and gas. And as you know, in Oklahoma, it's just up or down, up or down. Mm-hmm. And I think I had experienced my last layoff while I was pregnant with my youngest. And I thought, I just cannot go through this again. So we decided to start a company.
Yeah. In fact, when she was, after she had our little one and was no longer pregnant, you've never gone back to work.
No, and that was really how this was born out of it, is I was like, I cannot do daycare again.
Yeah.
I had to do it with my oldest. It broke my heart. And then when my little one got here.
We already had a company at that point. You just never went back to work.
Right. I had
official work. You do work, but it's not.
Right.
I had accepted a job and I kept pushing back the start date, and it was just, no, we need to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, when we started, we were doing new construction under another name. Yeah. We're not profitable in that. We started over, rebranded into residential service, hired a coach, and went into residential service plumbing. And we're in our 4th year of that, and we've grown substantially. And it was a game changer for our family and just what we've been able to do in our community.
It's actually funny. It started with me in a van and her on the phones answering.
Yeah.
From our house.
Yeah.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
And then we realized really quickly, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
I was like, I remember telling our coach, I cannot work with this guy.
Yeah.
I cannot work with this guy.
She'd call me on a job and I'd be like, well, I'm going to be here maybe another hour or so. An hour and 1 minute, I'm getting a phone call. Are you done yet? Where are you? I've got another customer. You need to head there right now.
Our first hire.
I can't leave this house to go to that house. Like, that's not how this works.
Our first hire, and we knew immediately, okay, we need to get people between us because,
yes. Right.
We're still that way, was hiring someone else to answer the phone and dispatch calls to him to have that buffer in between us.
Yeah. And it changed everything because immediately she was like, "Oh, just take your time. I'll call the customer."
Yeah, don't call. I'm going to work on the business while you're working in the business. I'm going to, and that's what I did once we had that first hire, and we just went from there.
And great for your marriage too.
Yes.
Right.
And we've had to do that even recently on some things.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like one thing that's 100% true is when you're a husband and wife team running a business, it's hard to separate. It's so hard to separate the two.
There's no separation
from business. I mean, I take her out on date night, and it's super duper hard to not start talking about business. But
to be fair, we love and we have found such satisfaction and fulfillment from growing our business to where we started to where we are. But when you're not careful about separating that, then there's no more personal relationship. It's just business, and you become partners. And I feel like we were really lucky this year. We saw this coming, and we had to have kind of a come to Jesus talk and go, okay, wait a second. we've got to refocus and restructure our priorities.
And that's probably something that's just going to cycle through your life cycle as well, right? It's just, you're going to have these moments, right? Everyone gets comfortable, and then like you need that come to Jesus moment. And I mean, every relationship goes through that. You just have a business involved in the whole thing
just
too,
a
right?
whole other layer on top of it. Yeah.
And everything else.
And all those conversations are super cordial. Like,
Right. We never yell at each other.
From
Right.
across the room,
Right.
out of shot
Right.
of flying objects.
Right.
Oh, I love it. There's a lot of things that go into plumbing, and most of those can be flying objects, right?
yes, dangerous weapons.
Yes.
Dangerous weapons. So the interesting thing that stands out there is you mentioned you hired a coach. Tell me about that decision, because that's a big decision for a lot of small businesses, because it can be very expensive.
I will say that we get asked this question a lot whenever we've been asked to do podcasts, or like, what is your advice to people just starting out or whatever? What should their takeaway be? And I will say something about Brent and I is we're polar opposites. And I'm a researcher, and I was like, okay, if we are starting over, what can we do to help ourselves? And we didn't have any money to do this. But we found a consultant, a coach, where basically we were just like, tell us what to do. And we were very teachable. And we're still very teachable, because I think ego stands in the way of people really succeeding. So we found someone very specific to our trade, what we wanted to do. We had a good vibe with them. And throughout the years, we've switched coaching to where we're at and what season we're in. But I mean, 100%, we would not have been able to do what we did without having a coach and just someone speaking life into us, giving us instruction. It was crucial for us.
No matter where you're at or what you do, there's somebody out there who's done it before you and did it big, or even if they didn't, they've learned lessons that they can share with you that can save you a lot of time and headache.
Right. We're not reinventing the wheel.
Right.
There have already been successful plumbing companies and husband and wife teams doing it out there. We didn't have to come up with that ourselves,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, which is the beauty of it, right? And again, back to just being in this country, and I've said this a million times on the podcast, it's like in other countries and maybe in other states, I don't know this, but when you go to people for advice who are in your industry in other countries, sometimes they're bitter and they don't want you to succeed, right?
Right.
Whereas here, especially in Oklahoma, everyone is like, you're not in my market, and even if you were, I'd love to help you, right? Like,
Because the rising tide raises all ships. Yeah. We say that all the time, you know. We have what you would call competitors that have reached out to us or asked us questions, and it just helps us if we can because Brent's whole thing when we started this is to bring respect back to the trades. So that means when we are not your butt crack plumber showing up. We have top of the line technology. Our plumbers look good, smell good. When they show up, you should feel safe. You're gonna, we're fully digital.
Yeah.
You know, we have on-point branding, so we want others in our area to be raised. We want to raise the bar for that. Like we say it, we are the standard in Oklahoma City. And but another part is a previous conversation is you want to raise that bar so that high school kids see this is an opportunity where they can go out and live a great life and not be saddled with student loan debt.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to bring a level of respect back.
I mean, it can be like a $300,000-$400,000 swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus spending $200 for 4
And
years
it's recession
versus making
proof.
$200 for 4 years.
It's recession proof, and that is not talked about enough. You know, we want to change that.
Right.
So I mean,
Just trying to get everybody out of that feast or famine, right?
Right.
Like there's plenty to go around. I mean, everybody, there's opportunity for everyone.
Right, and you are changing the stigma around what you just said, right? Is like that butt crack plumber, and like, you know, people coming out of high school, you know, and even if they're not well educated and they don't want to go to college, well, what are they going to do? And it's showing them that this is a legit opportunity, and whether that's showing that through, you know, just great branding, social media work, or by, you know, being successful and having those conversations and being in the community, not to generate business, but to show these kids coming out that, or girls as well, to coming out that, hey, there's an opportunity here.
Yeah, absolutely there is.
Which is really there's probably days that you come home from work and you're like, I had a really good conversation with like a 16-year-old kid today, and it like changed my life.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or their parents. It's really about changing the minds of
Yes.
the parents. It has to start with the
Very
parents,
true.
you know? And I think we've been really lucky in our own community where we've had people see kind of, you know, the job we've done branding ourselves on social media, because that's where the eyes are, that it has given them pause and go, okay, we've seen them do this. Maybe this is an opportunity for my own kid. Or I know Leslie, let me ask her. You know, I've had several friends and their own kids where we've created an apprenticeship program for them, and they'll come back in the summers, you know. So we're really proud of that. That's something that's a priority to us, is to change that and bring the respect back to the trades.
Yeah. Tell me about you mentioned when you started, you were under a different name. Tell me about like the rebrand and then the branding that you guys do now, because I mean, your vans stand out, the logo's great, you know, the name is, you know, it's
okay,
really
so in new construction, you really don't have to worry about branding.
You're
Sure,
only,
of
yeah,
course.
you're only
You just have to
customer-
find a builder.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
And they
customers are
don't-
builders. That's
very
it.
true.
And they don't care what you look like, or
Right.
you can drive a beat up truck. That there's no, there's really not a need for that. So we knew when we rebranded, we took stock of the successful companies. This came back to the coaching. You know, how do we come up with a name? Well, Brent is my champion, and I know his story. And so when I know his story and I look at where he is now, that's how Champion Plumbing was born, because he's my champion. And then we just really,
Love you, honey.
it's on recording. And then once we got with the right graphic artist, you know, and graphic designer, we put that everywhere. You know, we have a rolling billboard. You're going to see us. We have a huge following on TikTok. We have an amazing social media strategist. So branding for us just tells our story. It allows our customers a level of comfort before we even show up at their door. They get a sense of who we are as a family.
Right. I mean, all of it together goes in to tell the masses who we are before we ever show up.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of all of it. And,
Yeah.
and that's an important part when you are asking people to let you into their home. You know,
That's a privilege to be able to get in somebody's home.
Yeah.
1,000%. And that's how I coach.
And they
all my
picked
guys.
us over any other person they could have Googled, you know. So, you know, we don't take that lightly.
Right. Well, and having that trust, because like 90% of the people who are employing you to do work know nothing about what they're doing. That's
No.
why they're calling
And
you.
they don't. Nobody
You
wants
know?
to wake up and call a plumber.
No one wants to
Nobody.
call anybody.
No, you don't want
Yeah.
to talk. Or,
That's what I tell my guys all the time. They don't want new water heaters. They want to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want to relay their sewer. They want to take a family vacation to the Disney
Yeah.
World
Yeah.
or get a new car. That's
Yeah.
what people want.
Yeah.
And what we do in our task.
These aren't fun purchases.
Right. I mean, we are
typically.
tasked with making people comfortable with spending their money in this
Right.
position.
And if,
Yeah.
you know, and giving them options, like we offer financing, or, you know, and just really for us, when we get in the home, it's about educating the customer on what's happening in their plumbing system.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned, obviously, Brent being your champion and a little bit about where he's come from. I'd love to hear that story if we got time, if you want to share.
You want to give them the short and dirty of that? Or you want me to?
I mean, you can.
Okay. So,
I don't know. I would love to hear how your thoughts on
well, I just look at Brent did not have an easy childhood.
Okay.
And he got in a lot of trouble in high school. You know, he graduated from alternative school, and we had a kind of full circle moment a couple months ago where we went into Del City High School because we're now sponsoring their football games, and he had to go to the principal's office and shake the hand. And we were sitting there, and he was like,
different principal now though. So
he was like, Leslie, this is weird because now I'm sitting here basically in a position of power and authority, and before he was always in trouble. I mean, he got kicked out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more layers to those
That
things
is
going
powerful,
on, but that was hugely powerful in that moment, because this is why we talk about how the trade changed lives.
Yeah. Yeah, and that helps you relate to kids coming out if they've had a great childhood or if they've not. Like you can say, look, I've been there. And at some of that time in my life, I didn't know what I was going to do. I could have ended up doing some really bad stuff or whatever it could have been. Who knows what could have happened? But now I'm a business owner, I'm successful, and I'm giving back.
Right.
right,
So
absolutely.
that's why you guys should have your own podcast. Back to the branding side of things then. You mentioned you guys have a social media strategist. You're big on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Most people in plumbing aren't doing that, right? I assume?
They aren't. I will say, I feel like we pioneered that in a way. We've been on it for a couple couple years, and that's really how a lot of people in our space know us. And I get asked that question a lot. It was about the beginning, so it would have been the end of 2020, where I was thinking about, okay, what are our marketing goals for 21? It was when we had really kind of reached this level where we could see this thing going nuts. So for 21, when we really focused on branding and recruiting, I thought, okay, where are all the eyes? I didn't have a TikTok.
Right.
Now I do, and I get into that scrolling. But I hired a social media strategist, and she's just brilliant. And I owe all of that to her. And the important part of that is because when you are a business owner and you're wearing so many hats, as we do, you have to delegate out the tasks that you're not gifted at. And I wasn't gifted, and I didn't want to do it. But that was a huge part of, we need to spend the money here before we really have it, because you have to spend the money to make the money, set up the process, delegate out to grow your business. And so we just have kind of I feel like I've built a dream team of marketing vendors that I trust and I love, and they've been with us, and they've been a huge part of our success.
And is it a lot of informational content? I don't assume you're out there dancing, doing TikTok
We
videos.
have danced.
You would assume wrong.
We have danced. Nowadays, she does a lot more. We have our team more involved. Like in the beginning, it was kind of like, Leslie, can you do this dance? And I still make him do funny stuff, but we have delegated that out. We do a lot of educational content. Our biggest hits are when we have our guys. It's YouTube. TikTok has surpassed YouTube. So, and now Google search words are part of TikTok SEO. It all works together, and we align those in a monthly content strategy. But she does a great job of repurposing. Yeah. But we also have had we had Yellow Dog Creative out last fall and got a ton, because we did some commercials, but we got a ton of really fun behind the scenes stuff that looks really cool to repurpose onto TikTok ads and things like that. Right. So she's just like a genius at repurposing.
When it's really good, I mean, it gets everybody's a little bit involved in it. It's not just me and Leslie. It's not just some random actor that you paid $50 to take a photo of or something. And it's
who does not have calloused hands.
Yeah.
Right. Like those are actually, like when you look at it and you see those faces, a lot of those guys
are people.
Those are people. Yeah, they work for us. And I'm all over TikTok, and ironically, I do not have TikTok on my phone.
Yeah. Well, and it's good that you're there recording the commercial, and I watched one of them, and it does look really good. But the best thing about it is you just roll camera all day, and you have so much content.
So much content. Yeah. And video content is king.
Yes.
Video content is king. So it never is wasted. And you can reuse it with a new trending sound at any time, and you can get those hits over and over again.
Yeah, because everyone's short.
Well, and at this point...
I haven't seen this video before. Right. Well, you have. It's just a different song.
Well, and at this point, we have so much old content that it takes less pressure on us to constantly... And right now, we're getting to where we are creating a schedule of we're going to get a bunch of footage at once.
Right.
And like she's going to come up. We're putting that in the budget for 23. She's going to come up. We're going to knock out a bunch. So for the rest of the year... She's not having to text me and go, hey, go do this. So,
I mean, if there's something that's really trending out there that's
we
blowing
need to
up,
we'll do
she will
something.
text us, yes.
Yeah, we'll do something funny.
But it's great to have that, right? And you're not just kind of hiring your standard marketing agency that says, hey, we've got 2 billboards for sale. Do you want one? And no one's looking at it. And it's this, and it also makes it exciting for you guys, right? Because marketing as an expense and a business side of things, it's there to generate sales. But most people, like when business goes down, it's the first thing to go. Which makes no sense to me at all. But when you make it fun and enjoyable and video, you guys, it's fun to do.
I got to use these dancing skills somewhere.
Exactly. You can't be on the dance floor every Friday, Saturday. Now you have kids.
I get looked at weird when you're in your 40s and go to the local bar.
Yeah. Well, you can find some places.
Probably.
So with the stuff, are you predominantly then Oklahoma City based? Is the goal to go further, franchise out, or are you just like, this is our market, we're going to...
We really feel like this is our market, and we'll be adding other verticals such as HVAC and electrical and who knows what. I
wouldn't say we've ever ruled it out completely, but as of right now, we're still focusing on this market.
We're Okies.
Yeah. So
back to that then, to set some more context. It sounds like you grew up in Midwest City, Del City area.
Correct.
What about you? Same place?
He grew up in Del City. I grew up in Midwest City.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what is it like for you growing up in that area and seeing it now and being able to go back and sponsor football games and have that community to give back to?
So
It's full circle.
it's nice to be able to go back and do whatever we can to sponsor those things.
It feels good though to go back and do that, have that moment of being in the principal's office. Like,
It's weird.
Being in there and not being in trouble. That was,
That was a cool moment.
yeah, that is a cool moment to have, and it's good like that you remember that, right? You remember where you grew up. You're not like, I'm never going back there. This is a bad experience of my life. Not happening. Like the fact that you have it in you to go back says a lot about you, the both of you, to do that, right?
Not only that, but we've also placed one of our shops in Midwest City.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many shops do you have?
Well, we have one main area, and then we have several other kind of satellites. But all the team meets at one.
And business obviously sounds like it's growing, and employees adding employees every now and then. Is that tough to find new employees?
Yes.
Very hard to number one hardest thing to find.
And it's probably not you
Yes.
probably can't limit that to just the trades right now. I mean that's everything.
Everywhere, yeah.
But
There was
it
a
is one
trade
of the
shortage before COVID, and then it's like COVID made it even more competitive and worse. And plumbers are extra. No offense, but of all the trades, I
extra
think
special.
they can be kind of divas.
Yeah.
So that is a struggle that we go through.
You can't do that.
But it's kind of just part of the business, and it's not unique to just us. I mean, it's typical with our peers.
Even with the team, I'm really proud of our team now that we have, but we didn't grow it overnight. There has been some turnover. There is, because you can't. Not everybody that walks in your door is a rock star. Not everybody takes it as a career path. Not everybody takes it as seriously as I do.
They don't fit your culture.
Yeah.
That's really the main thing. They can be a total rock star in the field, but if they're a cancer in the shop, you're not going to get to stay.
Well, and they might want to go on. They're using you as a stepping stone to go on and do their own business.
And I'm even okay with
fine.
that.
Which is great.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't mind teaching what I know. I mean, that's part of giving back to the industry. And I can't change the culture of plumbing just by champion plumbing. I would have to change it by people who pass through and build a legacy under their own name. But that's all part of it, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. What's it, Leslie, for you, what's it like being a female in the construction industry?
Well, for me, I came from oil and gas, so there's really no bigger good old boy network than that.
Yeah.
So
Great training.
This is just another, and since I'm not a female in the field, I'm not a female technician, I deal with things on the business side. I mean, I still get, vendors and stuff that call me honey or sweetheart or whatever. And it's just what it is. It's a joke. I can hold my own.
Yeah.
So
She can hold her own. Yeah.
I try not to take things too personally because I feel very blessed to be in the position I'm in. And I love it.
What's the culture in Oklahoma City like with women in construction? Because there is a lot of you, and I have some friends of mine who are in the architectural side, they're in the building side, they're all over it.
I can't speak for others. I can say to me, the type of relationships that I have on the growth side, and whether that be financial with the banks, with local marketing vendors trying to solicit me, I don't feel, and I'm not on our phones. So I will say, you get someone calling in and they want to talk to a plumber, they can be pretty rude to a female, and I know that my ladies can experience that. I feel like I'm in a special position because I get to be an example. So if there is, and most men our age are not the problem. It's the older generation, and it's more of when I think about it, like, bless his heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He has no idea.
He just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And I just really try not to take offense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I could get pissed off all the time about a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, well, it depends on the day you ask me, but I feel like I have been shielded from it because of the support system I have in the other trades and other businesses. But, you know, I will say, you know, we have like private equity is really big in our space right now, buying up
Interesting.
business like ours. And we were at a conference in Dallas, and there had been one that had been kind of hollering at us for a while. And they were, you know, of course, I'm the one on social media, so they're the one talking to me. And then we got in that meeting, and they would only look at Brent and ask him questions. And I said when we left, I said, they don't know that, they don't even know what they did. You know?
And totally oblivious.
And there'll probably be a time that I tell them.
Right.
But that's the last time.
I think you may have just done that.
Oh, but that will be the last time I can really think of a time I felt slighted because I was a female.
Sure.
Because I'm the one, you know, making a lot of moves, and you're talking to me, and then we sit down in person to finally meet at this event. And you were sitting across from each other, and when there's a question about business, you ask Brent, and if there's a question about family, you ask me. And I don't think it was intentional. I think it's one of those things that happen, and they probably don't even know.
Right, it's just ingrained in them.
But
it's just
I went away with from that meeting thinking this is probably not ever going to be a partner for us.
Right, yeah. Is that ever a choice with the private equity stuff?
Oh, you get to decide who you want to partner with.
Yeah, you
like,
guys.
we're the.
No, I mean, like, is that an option? Sorry, not choice. Is that an option for you guys?
Someday.
Going down the road.
Someday it will be with the right partner.
And that would just be to skyrocket growth and really take off.
That would just be us finding someone we could really see ourselves helping us grow our business. I mean,
Gotcha.
it's kind of like going into a relationship.
Yeah, of course.
You know, because we're not like a lot of others. You know, we want to keep things small. Like, we want our culture to feel small, even though we're going to be big and take over, and our goal is to dominate. We have certain priorities that are non-negotiable. So it'll take the right partner, the right feel, and it'll be at the right time.
Yeah. To that point, about staying small, I'm reading a book right now, and obviously I can't remember what the name of it is because it's just typical. But it's basically about being small and mighty and keeping a small shop, but really dominating and all. I'll send you the book because you might have already read it, but it's really cool because it talks about, you know, by scaling so much, you're just giving yourself so many headaches instead of keeping yourself small and just still.
There's a sweet spot.
Yeah, there is a sweet spot, and making an extra, you know, a ton of money doesn't necessarily make your lives better. It's what it is.
Right.
Talking exactly about that.
I'd
sweet
love
spot.
to when you remember the title.
Yeah, when I get back to the house, I'll text you a picture of it because it's a really good book, and it's, you know, it's all about kind of family businesses that have just decided that to stay small, and it would be exactly the same as your situation. So. It's good stuff.
Nice.
To that point, do you guys read quite a bit? You seem like you're a researcher. Are you into the business side of things?
Yeah, I'm a reader.
Yeah. What's then? I mean, I'm sure you've been asked this before, but top 5 books.
So I just read a really good book by John Acuff called Soundtracks, and it's about people that overthink. So that's a really good one. Right now I'm reading. Is it The Gap in the Gain or In the Gap in the Gain, about how entrepreneurs can fall into, basically, we have more depression than anyone else because we're always measuring ourselves, because we're such high overachievers. We're always measuring ourselves against something in the future and not what we've already done. That one's been really good for me. And then I have other books that I just enjoy, like the biography of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I don't know if you're a believer in anyone. That's like such a good book.
Yeah.
But he was a pacifist during, was it World War I or II? Gosh, I don't know. It's a good question.
Do you find it hard to that point of being an entrepreneur and having, you know, some issues or whatever most people do you find it hard to celebrate your wins?
Yes.
It's a common thing, right? Like, we really find it hard to just, because like you said, there's always the next goal, there's always the next thing on social media, there's always the next, you know, band we've got to get, a level we've got to get to. But it's interesting to try and to dive into the dynamic of, we crushed it this month.
Right.
Like, how do we celebrate that?
And
how do we find time to do that and bring our family in too?
And because in your seasons of growth, you know, there's seasons where you win in different ways, and it's not always revenue.
Right.
But revenue's sexy. Everyone wants to talk about revenue. And even ways that we've won personally, how we've gone through some really difficult things in our personal life in the past year that we thought we wouldn't get through. But now we can look back and go, that was a blessing because, we love each other today and we have a newfound love for each other. So, I'm really excited about the book that I'm reading right now, The Gap and the Gain, or In the Gap and the Gain, because I need that, because I am the worst but we didn't hit this goal the way I think we should have hit it.
Yeah.
It should have happened this way.
Well, and it's really easy to kind of lose the perspective of, sitting back and thinking, God, 4 years ago to where we are now.
Yeah.
If you look at the giant picture of all of it, you see the gains and you go, wow, wait, why am I upset? Or why, we are here. Like, now we're building from an even better spot than we were 4 years ago. So we've done something right.
Yeah.
But you can easily lose perspective on that, right? Have a bad month and the sky's falling. What's happening? Everybody's lost their minds.
Right.
And you really have to be able to look at your losses and your failures of learning moments, and you have to switch that. Like, this sucked that this happened, but what did we learn, and how do we change that going forward? And if you can switch it, you can take a hit financially, you can take a hit personally, but those are always crucial learning moments that can push the needle for you going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that classic entrepreneur's diagram, right? Of success and failure. Success from start to beginning is not a straight line. It's a bunch of going all over the place. Yep. But you're right, though, because you have to learn from those moments, and you have to go through that to appreciate the growth and the hard work. And it doesn't make it worth it, right? If you don't just, it's nothing worth doing is ever easy.
That's right.
Yes, right.
And yeah, just having that appreciation. And to your point, looking 4 years ago, like I struggle with it as well, but when I think back to the first thing I thought of was I came here with my golf clubs and my suitcase. That was it. Set of golf clubs and one suitcase, and 11 years later, I'm still here and I have a house and a wife and all. Like, you look back, you look at those 2 points, right, and they're miles apart. And wow, I've come so far. But then, like I said, you look at last month or yesterday and you're like, man, yesterday sucked.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. But you got to have that appreciation and that remembrance of we've come so far. Yes, we have a long way to go to reach what we want to do in our potential, because as humans, we always strive and want to do more. And I think as men, we always want the next shiny big thing, right? Yep. Like, but it's good to ground yourselves like that. And if you are going to celebrate, what do you guys do? Like, what's kind of your passions, and what do you?
We really like to travel, and we have a goal for our girls are little, is to take them to 2 national parks a year. Yeah. So it's fun for us to get to celebrate. We try not to be buy them a lot of stuff, but to create memories with them. And it's hard because we're all so busy and they're in sports now, but we love to celebrate with a weekend trip.
It's a beautiful country. Why not go see it? Right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's the one thing about being here is you can jump on a plane or jump in the car and you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah, anywhere you want.
That's one thing. We just come back from a wedding and it was in North Carolina and it was a pain in the ass to get there. And I almost, the week before we flew out, I said, I just want to drive. Like, I know it's 14 hours, but I've never seen that side of the country. And it'd be much easier to get there when you have a car instead of flying into Asheville and paying through the nose for a rental and all that stuff. But driving around this country is something that I think a lot of people should actually take advantage of.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And
isn't it?
with flights now, you're like, is it going to be canceled? Right. Is my second flight going to be canceled?
Not to get stuck in Newark, New Jersey.
It's almost more fun to drive because it's more consistent right now.
Yeah. So finishing up, what do you guys, state of the business right now? What's the plans for, obviously we're planning for the new year. We're coming out of COVID, and I'm sure you're coming out of supply issues and all that nonsense that everyone in the trade's been dealing with. But what is kind of your growth, plans and goals for next year? If you want to share about it. Yeah.
Well, I think we're at the point. So when you first start, it's, hey, we grew 120%. Right? Doesn't mean, it sounds great when you put it on paper. It doesn't actually equivalent to a whole lot.
And you can't do that.
And so now that we've gotten to the size that we are, the growth, now you're like, actually, typically standards would be for a great growing company is 10% a year, 10% a year. And I like to push the envelope a little bit more than that and double. So I'm looking for like at least a 20% growth.
And adding.
And that's just within what we've already are doing. So a couple of more people, but we're talking about we're going to add HVAC, maybe electrical, just adding different avenues to really kind of
just
really blow up
under the same brand as to be Champion HVAC and Champion Electric and stuff like that, and you already have everything you need to know about where you need to find these people.
Yes,
we already have the
model
process.
already works, right?
It's the same model. It's just building out a different skill.
What and with the family business side of things, do you have anyone in the family that's involved, cousins, uncles, all that stuff, or the kids love it? What do they think about it? Are they at an age?
They don't know anything.
Not yet.
They could care less.
You're gonna keep them as far away as possible.
They could care less.
They get to do some of our marketing with their cute little pictures and.
Yeah, we do use them as little models.
Yeah.
From time to time.
It's like the classic dealership thing where all the kids are on like a friend of mine's family on a dealership, and he does a model.
We got to take that tax deduction. So get over here, kids.
Yes,
get over.
You are employees of my business. We need to use you somehow.
That's right.
That's awesome. Seems like going forward, you're just throwing more money into the social side of things as well, because that's where you do a lot of your marketing, and you see a real return from it.
Yeah. We are 75% digital, which is where we want to stay. And then within that, we really kill it in all of different channels. Google, we're heavy into Google. But really our branding and our social media, that'll just continue to grow. Yeah.
Do you find it hard as a business owner sometimes to justify the social media side of things because it's hard to kind of track ROI?
I haven't, because I think that I was given the department of handling marketing, and I always look at things as how I buy things as a consumer. And so for me, and he doesn't really make me explain myself. He lets me handle that. Branding has always been a big deal, and it is hard to track that ROI. I mean, you can track it some to a degree on your organic search, but we get the feedback. I mean, we get the people going, oh my gosh, I saw you on social media, or even other business owners who will tag us in a TikTok or Instagram where we've supported them. So, I mean, this is how it works now. And you would have to be completely out of your mind not to take advantage of that.
Well, that's what I was thinking in my head was like, you'd be crazy. Like, it doesn't, other than we have we have someone who manages it all for us, obviously, but it doesn't cost us any money if we pick up the phone and make a TikTok video.
Right. Yeah.
It costs nothing.
And that's where the eyes are.
Yeah.
And you don't, of course, it's a definitely like on-demand service. People are still going to use Google and go, find a plumber. But over time, it's when people recognize your brand. That's why your branding is so important, is we want to be your hometown hero plumber.
Yeah, and the reason I asked that question is I've had so many conversations with business owners in the past of people they're hesitant to pay a social media manager or something like that because it's hard to quantify. They might see follower count as like the only metric that you get, but they don't dive into the insights and how many views you're getting, and it can be very hard to explain to people who might have been in business for 30 years and they're like, oh, I need someone to do my social media.
Well,
I'll just ask my daughter to do it.
You could say the same thing on billboards. The thing is not to put a phone number on a billboard anymore because people are driving. So how do you track that? But people are still looking at billboards.
That's right. And I would say social media is much, much cheaper for brand recognition than every other avenue out there. Yeah. And the goal is the brand recognition. So you want them looking for Champion Plumbing. You don't want them pulling you out of a lineup. Yeah. You want them looking for you.
And we feel like when the other people start they start bidding on our name in Google, our competitors, that's just like a flex for me.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Right.
Bid on my name. I'm just going to drive the price up.
Yeah. That's a good day when that happens, right? You're
looking at I don't care.
People actually bidding on me. That's awesome. All right, last thing, quick fire round, which never really turns to be quick fire. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
I have never seen that.
Great movie.
I don't know.
My wife's never seen that either.
Okay,
or Snatch. Maybe Snatch.
Shawshank Redemption. Shawshank Redemption.
There are 3 great movies there. Okay, favorite song?
Oh, Hey Little Girl by Bruce Springsteen.
Ooh, okay. Right now for me, I think it's Truck Bed by Hardy.
Okay. What are you Googling right now?
What am I? I Googled something today.
Parts for my Jeep.
I don't think I'm Googling anything. If I look on TikTok for stuff,
Yeah.
usually some sort of like health hack or vitamin
Okay.
or skincare.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
hair care.
My wife's into that. I had
Yeah.
a conversation with her last week and said when we first got married, we had like, if you spend more than $50, you should probably tell your spouse.
Right.
We haven't done that for a long time. And I was like, hey, we haven't done this. We should probably bring this back because I keep seeing packages showing up. And I was
Like, no, we're good.
I was like,
And when the Amazon driver walks up and says, "Hey, Brent,"
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and I didn't even order the stuff,
yeah.
Oops.
So we had that conversation. I was like, what about if it's like 100 or 150? And she's like, would you be mad at me if I told you how much I spent on skincare products? I was like, well, how long does it last for? She's like, oh, it lasts for 6 months. I was like, okay, well, justify it over 6 months. We
Yeah.
can break it down. Yeah, the first number, I was like, whoa, that's way too much. What's your guilty pleasure?
Probably reading.
Okay.
I'm a reader. It allows me to decompress. Or scrolling TikTok. Definitely scrolling TikTok. It's a guilty pleasure.
Sounds
There's
like
this
the same.
fantasy football.
Fantasy football?
Yeah.
I'm so bad at fantasy.
I don't do the leagues though. I like daily.
Oh, okay.
So
you're really into it.
So
yeah.
I can I change my team every week, so I don't have to
He's
if I-
got our
if I have a bad
10-year-old
drift-
creating teams too, and she's not half bad.
I mean, yeah.
She really, or is it basketball?
She likes to do the basketball.
Yeah,
'cause
she
that's what
usually-
that's
yeah.
the sport she plays.
Yeah. What keeps you up at night?
Owning a business, payroll. How are we going to make it through? How are we going to make sure we keep our people on? Are they going to have another wreck in one of our vehicles?
All of those.
Is our
All
insurance
of
going
the
to be
above.
non-renewed?
Owning a business.
But you know what? Thank you for not saying me.
Yes. All right, last one. Sounds like, you Brent just mentioned the truck, but dream car.
I don't care about cars.
What do you go? All right, watches, jewelry. What do you care about?
I'm going to go with 69 Chevelle.
Okay.
What do I care about? Travel?
Dream vacation then.
Like probably her dream something would be like a vacation home.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I think maybe we both have the same one too. I think we both want a house on Lake Tahoe.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. I have a bunch of these questions in here, so I'm going to pick the last one. Go-to dessert.
Ooh, creme brulee.
Oh, really?
Boulevard in Edmond, Boulevard Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Is the best.
Shut
Have
off.
they ever turned the lights on in there, or is it still pitch black?
I love it.
Do you really?
Yes.
I
It does make
can't
you-
see my food.
It does make me sleepy.
Yes.
But I totally love the vibe, and I don't know if it's because I'm secretly like 70 years old, like all the people in there.
So I
but
like the
I love the vibe in there,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
the music.
And the food never disappoints.
Oh, the food
Yeah.
is so good.
Oh, I like creme brulee. That's a hard one for me.
And chocolate, anything chocolate. I have to eat gluten and dairy free, so it's not fun.
That's tough.
And creme brulee is not dairy free.
You should have said that as your guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh, cheating
Cheating
on
on my
my
diet?
food. Yeah,
I don't have
That's a
sweet tooth.
painful
No,
lesson.
you don't.
Uh-uh.
So
I'm that guy that I would rather order another
You do
steak.
like Reese's peanut butter cups.
No, I mean
I
I
found
eat
them
it.
in
I
the
don't
fridge in the
dislike it. I'm
are you big into like the jerky side of things then
I
instead?
love jerky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the guy down the street who has the jerky.com.
Yes.
Like that is your spot.
One of our vendors sent him. It
Every
was
road
called a
trip,
man crate.
2 bags of
and it
jerky,
had
yeah.
all these different jerkies in it. It was a cool gift.
That
Yeah,
is
it was
a
a
cool
cool
gift to have that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, finishing up because I always say finishing up. I don't know why because it's been 20 minutes since the last time I said it. Anything you want to share with everyone listening? Obviously, where they can find you, but just this is your thing to plug as much.
You can. Our website is called thechamps.com, and we are on all socials, and we're always hiring.
Mm-hmm.
We love to find our people. We want to change lives of our people. Anything else?
And our people are just as important as our customers. I mean, it's
Our people are probably more important than our customers.
I mean,
They're our first customer.
well, they're our first customer. So I mean, yeah, if you're looking for a great place to work with a
Right
really
attitude.
cool boss,
Boss
You.
is.
boss is
Yeah.
He's the boss of the shop.
yeah. She doesn't get to go to the shop very often.
We can't work in the same building, so.
Probably wise.
Yeah.
Right. Back to what I said at the start, flying objects.
Right. Yep. Right. She gets to see me too often. She'll never miss me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to say that to my wife next time I go play golf. Great.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Definitely it does, especially with our dogs. When we were away for a week, my wife's like, I miss my babies. I need to go see my dogs. I'm like,
yes.
really? Like, I miss them too, but, not that much. Anyway, thank you so much for coming down and sharing some awesome stories. I can't wait to do this again in 10, 20, however many years, just to see how far you guys have come and see how much the business has grown and all the other arms of the business that's going to come out in the years to come. But wish you all the best for the next year and the future years, and we will catch you guys next episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at OklahomaHOF. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And finally, our third sponsor for today, the Oklahoma 988 Mental Health Lifeline. 988 is the direct 3-digit lifeline that connects you with the trained behavioral health professionals that can get all Oklahomans the help that they need. Learn more by visiting 988oklahoma.com. It's 988oklahoma.com. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.